The following content is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.
You're listening to the Everyday Therapy Podcast. I'm JC Rader.
And I'm Julianne Schroeder.
And we're therapists bringing you honest conversations around emotional wellness and self-development.
Inspired by our personal experiences in therapy and because of our clients, we realize therapy has so much to offer both on and off the couch. Listen for tips and tools to navigate all the challenges that life throws your way.
To give us feedback on topics and guests, or for more information on our community events, counseling, or online services, contact us at everydaytherapypodcast.com. Hello. Let's get right into our supporters. So, Lifeology Institute is a group private practice here in the heart of Dallas and all over the Metroplex counseling agency. So, if you've ever wanted to try out counseling, this is the way to go, the place to go. So, they have early morning appointments, late evening appointments, and weekends, and they're affordable. So, they have all different types of counselors with different specialties. And today we're going to spotlight Amy Edge. She's actually an integrative nutritional health coach. So she helps you if like mood disorders, eating disorders, any sort of mental health goals that you have, creating actualized goals that you can work through. She focuses on gut, brain health. So if you really want to get more into the integrative side of counseling, coaching, she would be the person to go to. So she does mindfulness, yoga, and coaching all together. So she's amazing. Check her out at wefixbrains.com. Their motto is creative solutions to stuck problems. We love them and so thankful that they are supporting us and we can share them with you guys. So, yes.
Yes. And they do believe in, a holistic approach to health and well-being. And so they've created the LISP School, which is the Lifeology Institute for Psychotherapeutic Yoga. And this is a training program targeted towards those that have some background in mental health, as well as I guess I should say, experience in yoga, with really looking at the Western and Eastern approach to mind-body healing. And they are offering $150 off their next training cycle starting in September. So check them out. They're also doing CEU events, by the way.
Continuing education for counselors, anybody in the mental health world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next event, CEU, goodness gracious, is at the end of July. And you can walk away with an understanding of yoga for brain and mental health, as well as tangible skills to use.
Yes. And if you listen to this episode after that date, they're always offering them. So just check their website. But yeah, thank you so much, Lifeology and LISP. But let's get right into meeting our guest today.
Guest of honor.
Of honor, because Marina has her own podcast, ALLWays Another Way.
Which y'all were on.
Yeah, and which started us with our podcast here.
You are the reason we're here.
You are inspiration.
Thank you.
You gave us the confidence, like, we can do a podcast.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So, and that was probably about a year ago today.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because we started our podcast in August of 2018.
We're about to have a year anniversary.
Time flies.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing yours now? Was it January of that?
January of 2018, so like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, and I love the way that you describe your podcast. Will you describe it to our listeners?
Yes.
ALLWays Another Way?
It's for out-of-the-box thinkers and for those who hear the call of hope and always another way. And then I also, if you're just like very rigid in your beliefs, then it's probably not your cup of tea, but taste can always change.
Oh, I like
Gosh, I love it.
that.
She has it down.
Yes.
Say it over and over again.
Yeah. And Marina, so you're an LPC.
Intern.
Okay,
Still
LPC
hanging that
intern.
line, but they're going to change it, I think, to associate to not make you sound so like you're not
Unqualified.
experienced.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes,
So.
yeah. But you have your degree in counseling.
Do masters in professional counseling.
Yeah, and so your podcast, what I love about it is like it's kind of the alternative therapies.
It is. It's all anything outside of the box, not necessarily
Yeah.
therapy oriented, but
Right.
like people that do things like just a different way. Like, hey, like speaking of yoga, one woman who had rheumatoid arthritis and she was told she was going to be in a wheelchair, and she's like, no, I'm not. And she's in her 40s, not in a wheelchair, but talks about yoga. So that whole mind body thing.
Yeah.
Totally connected. And then I also bring a voice to like hush issues like domestic violence and verbal abuse, things that people don't talk about, or like the tricks of alcohol, so that you can be like, oh, hey, like here's some information you didn't know, or that we don't talk about it. And there is hope after those things, and to make people feel not so alone, because 1 in 3 women are in some sort of domestic violence situation in their life. And as a woman in the United States, you are more likely to be killed by a partner of yours than anybody else. So if you are scared walking down the street, no, you should be more scared of who you're with. So not
It's a
good.
startling,
Yeah.
startling statistic. But yes, being able to bring light to things that we need to.
Because if you don't know, like if you know, like then you can maybe see those things sooner, and like see that red flag, which maybe you didn't know was a red flag.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely need to. We just did a podcast on sexual assault, but we could do.
There's so much more.
Yeah, there's so much more.
Yeah, because you
to it.
definitely need to go through some hardcore counseling if you've been in a domestic violence relationship, because it messes with your mind, makes you think you're crazy, and it just really distorts reality.
Yeah, yeah. And you, some of your other episodes that I've really loved, you did one on psychedelic drugs for mental health and using psilocybin. I know you went to the conference on that.
Yeah, they're going to have another one next year
Yeah,
In LA.
in LA. Yeah.
yeah. And just all these kind of like, I don't know, just different modalities. And one that you're very skilled at is hypnosis.
Yes, I love hypnosis.
Yes, yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you got into this world of hypnosis.
So I I had insomnia for like, call it like since high school into college,
Okay.
not knowing what PTSD was, but like super insomnia. So I used to pretty much like drink or do drugs to fall asleep, which is a strategy, but it's not a good one.
Yeah,
because
it
it's not,
works,
It's not.
right?
Yeah, it works.
But-
You pass out, but it's not restful, nor is it good sleep.
Yeah.
And so I was like after 7 years, I was super tired.
Yeah.
Like something's got to give
You
here.
didn't
Never
like
really
have
had
real
REM sleep.
Yeah, you didn't have good REM sleep for 7 years.
Yeah. So I found, and this is how old I am, it was a cassette tape, and it was called, Hypnosis for Sleep and Relaxation. So I would put it in my cassette tape recorder, and I was like the queen of the disco nap. So like call it like 9 p.m. because you didn't go out till like 11 or 12, but like 9, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired because I've been up since 4 a.m. So I would just put this in, and then the person starts talking, and then in 5 minutes, like totally out to sleep.
Wow.
So I carried this like cassette with me.
It was, yeah, like your sleep drug.
Sleep drug, but drug free. So
Yeah.
it was nice. And then when I got older, I don't know what happened, or maybe like there was no more cassette tape players. I found a CD. Now they're on YouTube, and you can download them on iTunes. So anyways, what I really found, so that's how I found hypnosis. So that was like
Wow.
27 years ago.
It's like you just stumbled upon it and it kind of like saved your sleep life.
Totally.
And your life.
Yeah.
Because if you're not sleeping, you can't really function.
All bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of research on
Emotions
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask real quick? It sounds like it was pretty effective pretty quickly.
It
for
was.
you.
So
Yeah.
and that too. So what I think hypnosis is really, really, really good for people that have very busy brains, like the kind where you're just like, you think and your thoughts are thinking, and then it just goes like,
Your
Not
thoughts
slow
are
down.
thinking. Yes,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is a perfect description.
So it's good for that.
Yeah.
Because when you have those kind of like, I was just that like super before I knew this was anxiety, I'm like, I just can't relax. Like, even when I'm relaxing, I'm not relaxed.
Yeah.
So if you're relaxing and you're not relaxed, hypnosis is just a really good way to just, versus, because you can't relax otherwise, it's something for your mind to like latch on to. So if you could just say, so what I did is like, I'm just going to listen to the words. Like, I'm just going to just listen to the words, and then my mind will still wander. But once you start following those words, so hypnosis is essentially like a guided meditation, but like with a purpose or a direction. Like you're going somewhere, versus just meditation just lets you like go into yourself. Hypnosis is like, we're going to work on something like
goal-oriented.
Goal-oriented, yes.
Okay.
So we're driving you somewhere, but with your own brain. So using the suggestions the hypnotist is giving you, and then in your own mind, you're going to think of something that word is going to lead you to find your own solutions that work for you. So it's like a win-win.
Yes. Okay.
I love, the straightforward way that you say that.
Yeah, because it is so, like, I feel like mystic in a way of like, hypnosis.
Well, and it has gotten like, so if you look at movies, like they really portray it as like, it's the pendulum and we're going to get you to do something you wouldn't do. But like, one myth to dispel right away, hypnosis cannot make you do anything you would not normally do. Okay. So I couldn't like hypnotize you to say, on the way out here, you're going to punch Ziggy in the face, because I don't think you would. So you won't. But if there was an inkling in you that was like thinking
Ziggy,
it,
well, you watch
out. then like watch out, Ziggy. But it cannot make you do anything you don't want to do. Like and then also like within the realms of physical possibility. So you can't like do hypnosis to make yourself 6'5", because not physically possible. And you're not going to learn Chinese overnight and hypnosis like. That's not how it works.
Right.
It works within the realms of, if there's something that is in the physical realm of possibility that you desire, and you have a desire, but for whatever reason, like you all know, like a lot of us, like, I want to eat better, but I'm not doing it. I want to work out, I'm not doing it. There's a disconnect somewhere. It helps bridge that gap between what you want in your head and then achieving it.
Yeah. It seems like very unconscious. Like, are you getting into the unconscious part of the brain to like integrate?
Yeah. So how hypnosis works? So it's really it's linguistics.
Okay.
So it's as if I try to describe. It's like there are many states of consciousness, from awake to asleep, and then there's like different things in between. And then when you're asleep, there's even different states of consciousness. So hypnosis falls in what we call like the trance state. So you're not asleep, but you're not fully awake, you're more hyper-focused. So a good example I like to give is like, and most people can relate to this if you're a driver, you're driving along the highway and then you're like, oh my gosh, like there's my exit. Like, don't know how that happened, but you had your foot on the gas pedal, you were steering, and you were even aware of like, you can feel like cars getting close to you and stuff like that. So everything else is going on, but you're just kind of somewhere else. So hypnosis, allows the person to, so I'm going to just back up a little bit. A lot of us have like blocks somewhere subconsciously of why we're not doing things. It could be an unknown fear, it could be some fear of something, or, whatever, a reason why we're not doing what we should be doing.
Yeah.
So it kind of just bypasses whatever blocks you have. And you're going to be like, you're going to just keep those blocks like over here, and we're going to talk over here. You know what I mean? So like, quiet that down, and then there's some part of you that's like, oh yeah, and then you can see the whole field of possibility. When we think about things, sometimes we're very narrow-minded. We can just see one thing, like almost as if you have blinders on, and then hypnosis just like sort of opens up, and then you're like, whoa, like didn't even see that solution over there.
Yeah.
But you're coming up with it. So so I work with the person to talk about like what you want, and we talk about, your life in general, just to see like what works for you and what's not working for you. And then we create a way to sort of, once we get you to a relaxed state, to just let that conscious mind like go to sleep for a little bit, so that your unconscious mind that has limitless possibilities can look for solutions that'll be right for you. So I can't really tell you what to do because I don't know your whole life, but if I suggest some things to you, your brain will like look in this archive of everything that you've ever done and be like, wait, remember that time you did this, but you could do this, and then make that happen.
Through association.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I can see how that's so powerful too, is because you are creating the change versus like some external source, right? Like, even with therapy, we don't want people to always be dependent. Like, right? Ultimately, the source of change is within ourselves.
That's right.
And that's what hypnosis does.
Exactly. It allows you to find what's inside of yourself. And as the hypnotist, I'm just the guide. So when we talk about things, I'm just guiding you to maybe places you didn't know you could look. And then when you're in there, then you'll find other resources and then come up with solutions. And then likewise, and you all know with how our brains work, we are creatures of everything we've ever seen and heard in our life, like built up from like baby on. So there's like a storage facility right there.
Several.
Yeah. And you don't know. And some people, like, some things just like come up more for others. So like, for instance, like I remember, like the Karen Carpenter story. She heard one person say to her like, oh, that girl's fat. And then locked on to that. And that's what she like drove home with. So people will just see like where they are, just closer to that.
Yeah.
So
I hear a lot from my clients of like stuckness. Like I'm stuck, I'm stagnant. I don't know. It feels like a way to, like you said, find a solution and open up and see something outside of like what you normally see.
Yes.
To get out of stuckness.
So it works on that, and then it works on repetition. So like with that, like the repetition, so somebody can hear also something as a child, like, you're not good at this, you're not good at this. And then you hear 10 different ways, then you start saying it to yourself. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that. So suddenly you've got a tape that's like, it's got 5 people saying it, and then it's got you saying it 100 times. So we're going to, essentially, we're going to run a different tape. We're going to run the one where you are doing this. And so you're going to visually see it in your mind while you're imagining it while I'm talking. But then you're going to listen to it nightly just to kind of, as we know, how long it takes habits, nothing is just instantaneous.
Right.
But you listen to it over and over again, and you're visualizing and you're listening and you're creating a new pattern. And so you keep doing that. And then suddenly those old tapes, you can toss those.
Yeah. It makes so much sense. Like it doesn't sound like magic when you're explaining it that way.
Yeah,
right?
it's just words.
Yeah.
Words in a certain order.
Right.
And a little bit slower than the like extreme fast pace that I normally talk. And what I also like about it is when you get stuck and, I think everybody who's of a certain age, you've hit a depression time and you've hit an anxiety time. And when you're in those depression times, you don't want to do anything and everything's a no, pretty much like, no, I don't feel like it, I don't want to do it, and things don't sound good, and it's hard to get out of that when you're just sitting in there. But hypnosis is like one of the easiest things you can do because you could lay down. So you don't even really have to move.
Press the button.
Press the button and just say, you know what, I'm just going to listen and have no expectations. Just no expectations, just going to listen to this. And even like right when you're about to go to bed. So you don't even have to take extra time out. Like, I'm right going to go to bed. Just play this and then see what happens.
Yeah.
And then just notice any positive change, anything that's slightly different. And then when you notice that, see what else you notice. And then you're just going to play that game, which is just essentially retraining your mind. Out of that.
Yeah. Do you notice a difference in terms of, I guess, quicker results or success based on if somebody comes in with an open mind and like ready to receive what you have to offer, like some sort of buy-in into the process? Or
Yes and no.
Okay.
But here's what I say to people is that you're the expert, you be the judge. So just try it and you tell me if it works, because you'll know. You try it, listen to it for a week, see if you notice any changes. And if you don't, we could try something else. I could say different things. I could switch it up a little bit different, and then you'll know. And so you don't have to believe it. You just see the proof. So I'm always with the people that I work with, I have a guarantee that I'm going to work with you until you get some result, until you are somewhat satisfied in the direction we are going. But we vet ahead of time, what is possible? You know what I mean? So I don't try to tell people unrealistic things. I let you know what's in the realm of possibility that we can do. Some things are just, maybe they're not possible. Sometimes people ask me, could I make somebody not feel this way? No, we can't affect anybody else. So that's not within the realms of possibility.
Yeah, that's like magic. Like that's...
Could you make me forget about this person? I don't know that I could do that either. You know what I
Eternal
mean?
sunshine of the spotless mind.
Could I make you think about other things that might be more beneficial to you? Like then, so we'll find a way where we can work to get you to your result. It might not be a straight line. We might take a left and a right, but we can get there.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what are some of the common things people come to you for hypnosis for, and then maybe some of the things that people wouldn't think of that they could use hypnosis for?
So the layups
Yeah.
are sleep and anxiety.
Okay.
I mean, easy breezy, almost everybody finds some relief in these. So sometimes maybe the first night, and so with hypnosis too, like that, and talking about the skeptical, you're going to listen to it because your brain is like, what is this lady saying? Is she going to sneak in any, like, punch anybody out the door? You know, and that's
Give
okay.
me all your money.
Yeah. So you're going to listen, like, intently, like, on a little bit of high alert. And then once you hear it on, you're like, okay, that was cool. Like, it's nothing nefarious in there. Then your mind will relax a little bit more, and with repetitive listening, and then most people will be like, that put me to sleep. And people that don't even necessarily want it for sleep. So sleep and anxiety, those are two really, really good things, very common. Weight loss and motivation. So if you want to just like, and we'll center it around like making healthier choices. So just mindset changes, little teeny mindset changes. And then I do something also, it's called the rewind technique, and this is for trauma. And as you know, and I'm a trauma therapist too, like reliving trauma, like telling all the gory details, not good for anybody, you know. So some people don't even want to say anything, or maybe they don't know. You know, maybe it's just, I know something happened, but I'm just so dissociated and blocked from it. So initially what we can do is, in this rewind technique, is we can just do something within hypnosis where we're not reliving it, we're just sort of imagining this thing, and we're going to just essentially, you know, we're going to do something like movie-wise and just rewind it out of there so that it's just somewhere not in your access memory mind. So that, and then what do people not know they want it for? So I started getting some interesting requests.
Oh boy. My mind already has some ideas.
So
right.
Ziggy
Oh, no.
knows this. So
Are they of the sexual nature?
they are. Okay. So I get one from this woman who's like, and first I thought it was like a joke or a setup, like somebody's just trying to like see if I'm going to cringe, like on the back end. But it was about wanting to be essentially like more free with her sexuality. Like she was in went to like a beach where you could be nude, and she just wanted to be able to be there, like not conscious. And so then I'm thinking about it, and then like how I grew up, and like what you think about your body, just like in general, what's good and what's bad, and what women are told is like, you know, the whole everything that comes with. So there is nothing wrong with loving your body as it is, loving your body naked, like in the appropriate spaces. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you didn't go into a kindergarten class and, you know, no, that's not the thing. But on a nude beach where you just want to really feel free in yourself, or at your own home in a private area.
With your partner.
With your partner, whatever that's safe, sane, consensual, that deal there.
Yes.
So, anyways, so made this track for her, and I was like, yeah, and she just found
Laid
like
down a track.
laid down a
I
track,
like
yeah.
that way you said that.
So she found all this newfound freedom, and so she's been. But then they started getting more interesting. Then I started getting ones with people like this one person is into like more of the different sexual things like BDSM, and was into this. It's called ABDL.
Okay.
I had to
wanna
Google.
know?
I had to Google that as well.
Okay. I was like, I'm kind of scared to ask.
It's an adult baby diaper lover.
Oh.
And then, but I had to see. I'm
seen
like,
that on
okay, wait.
Taboo.
It has nothing to do with kids, because I have a like. I don't do
Yeah.
anything where it's
Yeah.
going to be like. It has to be like safe,
adults,
sane,
adults.
consensual, like
Yeah.
nothing illegal or otherwise. So okay, but wanted to be like more able to like just enjoy himself in this fetish that he was into.
Yeah.
All right, dude. We can make something to have you enjoy that. That is your desire. I'll create something like that for you. So, so then it went a little bit deeper, and then I started thinking went back to this woman and about like what we think about sexuality and body positivity, and also like then sketching the lines of like porn and what is accessible right now, which is really not good for women, because it extremely just objectifies women and just naked for the most part. Not that there isn't some better stuff, but what if we were able to have some sort of erotic fantasy where there was no objectification of women, where it was just truly like fantasy of self-love, or self-love with a partner where it's respectful and loving and not objectification. So we're starting to make tracks of people like that for them to be able to enjoy without that visual stimulation of porn. And we could go down the rabbit hole of when you start seeing these things, what it does to your brain to keep seeing more and more and more stuff. But now this is just your own mind, and somebody's guiding you in a safer way of your fantasy that is also, but it's a holistic sexual fantasy. I don't know how to say it like that. I like the good for you kind.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
very sex positive, like healthy sexuality.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those were the interesting requests. And then everything else is just really your industry standard, like I want to work out more. I want to maybe, motivation is a big thing.
Quit smoking.
Quit smoking,
Okay.
quit smoking. But that too, like if you're just quitting smoking because everybody tells you it's bad, but you don't want to quit, that's not going to be your avenue. I mean, hypnosis is not magic like that. But if you really do and you're just having a hard time, we can totally work with you.
So you're saying there has to be some internal motivation.
Has to be some desire somewhere,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, I can see your skill set in, professional counseling, to be able to navigate those blocks and like the emotional piece and the themes, right? And being able to hear like their life story. Like, so it seems like you really integrate all of that.
And then, okay, same thing with that life story. So like we all know about, life stories, and you'll get some clients, I mean, I've even done this too, where I'll tell myself the same story. Well, I'm just this, and they're telling people, when I grew up with this and this and this and this, and you're like replaying the same tape, like of something you already lived like 20 years ago. Okay. And so then after a while you're like, seen that, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Let's throw in a new tape. So oftentimes people are they're stuck on that tape because it was traumatizing. It was hard. It was just, and their brain's holding on to it. So we work with people about, let's get you a new story. Where do you want to go? And it's okay also to use fantasy to take you somewhere else positively. It's completely, and this is not like, now if you're totally living in a fantasy land and out of reality, that's one thing, but to take even 30 minutes a day to live in fantasy in a better place, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Because what you're doing is you're allowing your body to relax. So we're stopping the flow of this cortisol. We're allowing dopamine and serotonin to come in, and to, maybe I do see myself in being this, I'm just making it up, like this wonderful artist who like runs on the beach in the morning, and I have these fabulous friendships and all these things. Maybe that's not right now, but I would love for that to be part of my story. So we can create a story essentially that you're going to listen to. And it's not that I'm driving your story and they're going to be two blonde girls and there's going to be one guy. It's not like that. It's going to be like the things you want. So it's going to evoke feelings and pictures that you're going to create in your mind. So if you want the feeling of closeness is going to mean something different to you than it's going to mean to Juliana. So it's going to be just different.
Yeah,
and then each person's mind is going to lock on to what that is. And then even every time you listen, you can create something else. And like we know, things don't become possible a lot of times without seeing it in the mind. So once you see it there, it becomes in the realm of possibilities suddenly. And so when opportunity meets what you've seen in fantasy, you're more able to be like, yeah, I could do that because I've seen myself doing it.
Yeah, a piece of that seems like visualization.
For sure.
Being able, and then like, I think of like narrative therapy. So like rewriting your narrative. So it blends in a lot of like a meditative state with all of those things.
All of those things.
Yeah.
All of those things. And then I use, so finding like how I got trained in this. And so I was like, when I got to the point, I'm like, how do we do this? And there is no like, so anybody tells you they're like a licensed something, there's no license in the United States for that. They might have got a certification from somewhere. Yeah, there's no license. There's no state board test you can take that I know of anywhere. So so license is, that's just a word somebody's using.
Yeah.
You could be trained by somebody and have a certification that they're offering to you, but there's no, like we're licensed counselors because there's a state board, we have to take a test, it's regulated. There's no regulation on hypnosis. So, but
is that why, like, you think that you get a lot of I guess why there can be a lot of pushback or hesitancy?
There can be, and then there's also the stage hypnosis. So there are very talented people in Las Vegas, and that works off of like almost like magic too. But it works also off of people that are going to get up there are going to be a certain kind of people that are going to want to volunteer to be on stage. And then maybe let's say we're all on stage and everybody's going to go like this, and 10 people are doing this. You're probably not going to be the person on the end that's going to be like this. You just may go like this because we are little creatures of habit and group dynamics. So there's a lot at work there. And the people that do that are very talented. I mean, they're just like really good magicians, are very talented in what they do, and it's entertaining and it's fun. But you know, for people to think like, I don't want to do that because I'm going to quack like a duck, or, you know, that's not how it works.
So what do you, when you're looking for a hypnotist, like what do you look for? What do you make
A recommendation.
Sure?
I would find a personal recommendation from somebody,
like a therapist
or somebody that you know. And then I was trained at the Milton Erickson Foundation, which is, so if you look up Dr. Milton Erickson, he's passed away, but a very famous psychiatrist who was known for his skills in hypnosis. And there's lots and lots of books, but their training, you have to be a mental health professional, master's level or higher, to get trained there. They don't charge a lot for their training because they're more about passing around knowledge, because this is such a useful tool for change that we want people to access it. And so there's that. So, and then also people, we use the words clinical hypnosis in the mental health realms versus just the word hypnotherapy. But that doesn't mean that there aren't great people that are hypnotists that aren't trained that way.
Okay.
Because there are. I mean, I went to a woman who I won at an auction, you know, a little gift certificate to her thing, and she was great. I mean, it really helped me.
Yeah, it depends. And so to be on the safe side, get a recommendation.
I would get a personal recommendation from somebody that says, hey, I've used this person, and it works.
And so with your clients, like as you're explaining it, I just figured you did it in session. Do you do both in session and then record tracks for them? Or some people, do you just record tracks for them?
All of the above.
Okay.
So people in session, we obviously do some talking to get there. And then sometimes we'll talk about it ahead of time, what we're going to do, maybe like the last 30 minutes of the session, a hypnosis. And then some people I will record in the session if it's something that, you know, we'll do it live, but I'm recording it, and then I'll send them. They get an MP3 they can forever listen to. Then I have people from all over the world that contact me that I never see them. We just correspond via email. I make them a track. I send it to them. I give everybody the same guarantee, like, hey, try this for a week. If you do not notice any changes, let's talk. I want you to be happy. And all my reviews are 5-star. Everybody is super happy. So that is the guarantee that I give people, is we'll work with you until we make you happy. And I haven't yet have somebody that's like, you know what, nothing changed for me.
Okay.
But I also do heavy vetting ahead of time. So if something is just that I can't do, then I'm just not going to take it.
Right.
So eliminate that.
Yes, absolutely. That's cool that you kind of set it up front and you're realistic about it, and you kind of give people like set expectations.
And
this is not magic.
Yeah, not magic. And it's just like I use it. There's a guy I like on YouTube. His name is Michael Seeley.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, he's like got this English buttery voice. And then I even forget myself sometimes that it's a tool. And so I was in this down funk kind of recently, and then you get on the rumination train. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I have tools that I'm not using right now. So let me listen to something else. And it also helps people with rumination. So, you know, a 4-minute distraction can help knock you off of that rumination train. Well, these are, 15 to 30 some minutes long, will knock you off that rumination train.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like everybody kind of struggles with rumination. I describe it as like a really, like a piece of steak that's been like overdone, and you're just chewing on it, and you like can't chew it. Like, I don't know. That's how
but you
it
still
feels
want
in
to chew
my
it.
brain. It's just awful. Like you can't get rid of it.
I have been down there, and then I take my rumination sideways and I relive it a different way, and then I add like another element to it that wasn't even happened there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, it being helpful for all those reasons.
And it's drug free. Like it's not going to. If you get somebody that you've had a recommendation for, nothing's going to hurt you. So like at the worst case scenario, you're either relaxed or fall asleep. Like that's the worst thing that can happen to you. Listening to it at the very worst, and at the best, you make changes.
Yeah. Are there some people like? Is there, I don't know, I just think of a lot of things on a spectrum. Are there some people that like on the far end just cannot get in that trance state or have difficulty doing that? And then on one end, like some people that it just flows really easy and it's easy for them.
Well, I don't measure trance states with people because it's not important.
Okay.
And so a lot of people are like, how deep did you go? And it doesn't really matter because it just doesn't.
Okay.
So, and then people will say, well, I can't be hypnotized. Well, you hypnotize yourself every day. Have you ever been in an elevator and
Right.
just everybody stares straight ahead in this like trance and don't talk? You just hypnotized yourself.
Yeah.
We hypnotize ourselves all the times into believing things that are not true that we relived in the past by telling ourselves stories. So every single person is hypnotizable because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
Yeah.
I'm just the guide. So on that spectrum, maybe somebody's like, I heard every word, so I wasn't in a trance. Well, that's okay. If you heard every word, just see what happens. And so it's the proof is in the pudding. Is what I think.
What are some of your favorite success stories or clients?
So let's see. Well, the woman with her body positive stuff.
Yeah,
So she
okay,
keeps
no.
coming back to me. I've probably made 10 different tracks for her about different things about being body positive or more confident with herself, and then some interesting sexual fantasy things. Quite a few rewind techniques of people with some severe trauma that has enabled us to get to a point where we can then work with something inside of it to help process that. Lots of people with sleep. Oh, and then I totally forgot. So before I started, charging people for it, I was in this workout group. So I was like, I need a guinea pig on some people and see if it works. I'm like, give me honest feedback. Like, does it work? Does it not? So that I can perfect my skills. And so there was this one woman, she traveled a lot for business and like super scared of flying, like totally scared. Like, so she take a Valium, like every time she gets on, she's like, but when I do that, I get to the meeting and I'm so groggy and it's just not good. And I want to just get off the benzos. So I was like, okay, let's try this. And she wrote me, and I have some testimonials on my website, like, oh my gosh, like it totally works, like off the benzos, like uses this. So she just like, as soon as she's like boarding the plane, just puts in her little headphones and she's like, I just have you on repeat. She's like, and I just listened to that the whole time.
Oh, I need to get my best friend in contact with you. She is, but really, that fear of flying is really huge for a lot of people.
For a ton of people,
So,
and it's drug free. I mean, so
yeah.
there we go there, and it's just it's just something you can just like. It's a distraction too to listen to, but it's also very soothing, and it gives you instruction to breathe. I've had people with anger management issues that have been able to calm down. A lot of people with so it was all around mostly working out in my test guinea pig and anxiety. So many different things.
How cool.
Yeah. So you mentioned Eric Seeley. Are there any
Michael
others?
Seeley.
Michael Seeley.
Yeah.
Eric Milton.
Yeah,
And then
Milton
Michael
Erickson.
Oh,
That's right.
gosh.
But Eric's in there. Eric's in there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put it all in our show notes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Don't listen to me. But are there any other like good resources?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I was going to bring this book. So
Yeah.
I sidetracked when I was looking for like a place to get certified, and there's a bunch of places to get certified. And they were super expensive, and I'm like, I don't want to throw down like $4,000, and then who knows,
Yeah.
But then I found, and so just like when things just like fall in your lap, I'm like, oh, Milton Erickson Foundation, that's totally legit. And it was like 2 weeks from that, and I like all the magic happened, and I could make it work to go to Phoenix to get trained. But there's a book called Monsters and Magical Sticks, and it's
fun.
by this guy Stephen Heller. And so first I looked up him. So this book is actually written in hypnotic language. I've read this book probably 10 times. Almost every page is dog-eared. It is so freaking good. So I look him up, but he's passed away. So I was like, this is the dude that I want to learn from. Like, take me to your leader.
Yes.
But unfortunately, he's not. He's passed away. But so he calls it unconscious. I think his program is like unconscious restructuring, and he mixes a little bit of NLP stuff in there too. So I read some of the NLP books by Bandler and Grinder, Frogs into Princes, and Transformation, which use hypnosis and some of that neuro-linguistic programming. So my style is all of those. And then back to the, and I also have a Dave Ellman book, this like an old one. He was one of the big pioneers like in the 50s that they were using hypnosis for medical anesthesia. So he was going to all these dentists. I mean, it was like a gold standard for a long time. So he'd say like, you can always turn the gas off or on. But his what was called the direct approach. So it's like, you're falling asleep and you will sleep, like it's direct responses, was teaching doctors how to do it. I mean, everybody was loving it. And then something happened somewhere where some industry that was making money decided, wait, we're teaching people these words, we could sell something instead. So I use what's called, the Ericksonian style is indirect. So if you're an expert level control freak like me, you don't like people telling you what to do. I don't. So somebody saying you will do this, you're like, I will. Sometimes I'm like, I will not, just because you said. And I'm like, Tony wanted to do that, and I said no because I was being controlling. So it works off of like, you can close your eyes now, or you can close your eyes whenever you want to close your eyes. It's completely
really
up to
helpful,
you.
though, for trauma.
So all of mine are very indirect. Like you can, or you cannot, or you can do it later, or 5 minutes from now. So I use the indirect. My language is indirect. So I'm not directly telling anybody something other than sometimes I use a countdown, and then I will guide people visually, but I'll talk to people ahead of time about like what they find relaxing. So I'm not going to take you to a beach if you like drowned when you were 3 on a beach. Not good.
Yeah.
So, everything really counts. So that is where I vet really, really hardcore ahead of time with people, so that I'm not going to take you somewhere that is not going to be good for you, but really, really take you to a place where you can make magic happen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, sounds like you've taken from the best and learned from the best, and these resources and these books we'll list in the show notes.
I read a lot, and there's a hypnosis podcast too. I forget what that one's called, but what was I going to say about this hypnosis? It was something about reading a lot, taking people, I don't know, just.
Well, I want to say that like I love, because I've seen on Amazon, like you can buy the CDs or cassettes, whichever you would like, right? Books and whatnot. But I love with you, like it's individualized, like it's so unique to somebody's situation of like what is calming and relaxing and where they want to go based on their like stuck limited beliefs and all of that. So that's super powerful.
And it's cost effective. So because it's, it's one thing. Sometimes people they're buying a track from me, but you can have that track for forever and listen to it and I sell some on iTunes. And so if you're buying a track for $10, you might be like $10 for one thing, but I'm like, you can have it forever. Like how much do you spend on Valiums or benzos and then also
or 2 lattes
on the sleep aids, not good. There's a book called Sleep. It's all the research on sleep. And just really quick, you are 40% more likely to get cancer while you're taking Ambien or such other drug. And you're also 4.6 more times likely to die, and they've canceled out for other health problems. So,
wow.
Whoa. Yeah, not good. This will do none of those things to you.
Right. It's
so
very natural.
Completely safe. Oh, and I forgot, my little bird came back.
Oh, okay.
It was about that, reading books with things. I'm an experiential learner, so I like to get things. I have to do things many ways. I have to hear it, I have to read it, and then I have to do it, and I have to experience it. That's how I like to do things.
Yeah, and I think that makes so much sense to be able to do what you do.
And hypnosis allows people to really get in touch with their body and notice what's working. What is it about me? And what's worked in the past before. And you also seek back to hey, was there another time where, you didn't think you could do something and you did, and you're finding resources that you had and then putting them into the realm of possibility of now.
Yeah.
Which anything is possible. The future is unwritten. So why not write it yourself?
I love it. Yes, write it the way that you want it. Yeah. That's awesome. Any last words? I mean, that was pretty poetic right there.
Well, I mean, I love it. And so, I love working with people because it's so, just throughout my life, I witnessed I had trauma as a child and just witnessed weird behavior from adults that was incongruent, actions not matching words, and then getting misinformation, and then just messing up a lot where I'm just I wish I would have known that. A lot of times I'm just I wish I had information to make better choices. And I don't like not being in control. So it will allow you to be in control of your life and the way you want to go. So if something is not working with you, then you're just letting other forces guide you. You're just if you're not making decisions, you're letting life choose for you. This allows you to choose where you're going to go. So, hey, I want to make these changes in my life. Let's talk about where you want to go. You're here. You want to go here. Let's guide that path, just like you do in therapy. This is just a different way. It's great on top of therapy. So you're working out stuff live with somebody, and then, you can do it with that too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. How can people find you?
So my website is ALLWays Another Way, but it's with 2 L's. So ALLWays Another Way.com.
Okay.
And everything's on there.
Yeah. Okay. So how they can get in contact with you about hypnosis or
There's
getting
a contact
track
form,
or
everything you can see. I have some free, and on YouTube too. But the links are on there. I have free recordings, so you can just
Oh, wow.
listen to one and see hey, let me try it. What's it sound like?
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of stuff for free that people can access. And then a couple that you can just download right from my website. And then if you want something personalized for you, I have a contact form. We'll talk and I'm going to be honest with you if I can do something or if I can't, or can we meet in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Well, I definitely want to check out one for sleep because I struggle with that.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, you'll find out. You sleep good one day, then it worked.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
with us
Yes, I
today
know, we
and
could come
sharing
full
all of
circle.
this. Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much
this
for
is a
having
good
me.
1-year anniversary.
I appreciate it a lot.
And
Thank you so
have,
much.
Yeah, I have this thinking suspicion that a lot of people are going to tune in to hear about this because they're curious.
Yeah. It's not magic, and it's and you're not going to quack like a duck.
Yeah.
It's completely safe. It's just words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, and thank you to our listeners. We'll see y'all soon.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everyday Therapy Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes and share with your friends. It really helps us reach more people.
We might only record once a week, but we're with you every day.